Anyone know what the Yautja is for "we're so back"? Because, yeah, we are so back right now. Hey folks, this is Ewan, you're watching What Culture Horror, and the good news is here. Predator Badlands, the latest installment in the action horror franchise, and the first to follow one of the titular aliens as a main protagonist, dropped last week and has proceeded to slay expectations both critically and commercially, opening with a whopping $40 million domestic gross and a global total of 80 mil, making it the highest grossing Predator debut ever. God damn. Yeah, really, not bad at all, given the negative discourse that was swirling around the film's PG-13 rating and its concept deviating from the series' classic formula. Throw in the fact that it's been a whole 7 years since the last Predator movie graced the big screen, and that the previous installment, the fantastic prequel Prey, was relegated straight to streaming. This is an impressive reversal of fortunes, and one that places Badlands director Dan Trachtenberg firmly in the driver's seat of a now rapidly appreciating Disney asset. And also, yeah, one of the coolest sci-fi series ever with a legacy that I'd actually argue is a little undervalued, but I digress, because as much as I would like to wax lyrical about the original Predator and the genius of John McTiernan and Arnold Schwarzenegger, that's more of a film and TV channel thing. Go subscribe. And we're here to really go into Badlands and why it's doing the biz with critics and performing so well with the public when other Predator films over the years, well, haven't. Now, as ever, the Hollywood trades have been doing their autopsy on Badlands' opening weekend and have gleaned some really interesting insights about why it's done so well, starting with The Hollywood Reporter. THR notes that positive word of mouth has had a huge impact on Badlands' good fortune, noting that the Prey sequel is the sole Predator movie to receive an A on CinemaScore, it's receiving effusive post-track exits, and has a 95% audience rating on Rotten Tomatoes. This being The Hollywood Reporter, there's also a funny bit of insider goss, with one unnamed quote-unquote rival exec being quoted as saying, "This is what happens when you make good movies." People on the fence show up and they tell their friends and family to go. Had to yell that part in there because it was all in big old caps. And also, yeah, making good movies being a viable Hollywood strategy? Who'd have thunk it? Not me. And also, just to throw my own 2 cents in here on the whole word of mouth thing, despite there being some pretty big pre-release jitters regarding Badlands' MPAA rating, among other things, we shouldn't forget just how big the buzz was for Prey when it dropped in 2022. It received rave reviews, tracked well on streaming via Hulu and Disney+, and galvanized interest thanks to its clever marketing, and then obviously all the positive buzz that came with it being such a killer film. Now, obviously, Predator is a franchise that has its roots on the big screen, but I think this is a really solid example of cross-format interest and should maybe provide some encouragement to those studios looking at bringing their streaming slate to cinemas in the future. This has been a proven track record in the past, but for Disney especially, given all the despondency and sadness over Star Wars and their long-term strategy with that series, it could spell good news for The Mandalorian and Grogu. Again, might be a bit too early to share that take, especially with The Mandalorian Season 3 being so bad, but basically what I'm saying is that Badlands probably owes a lot of its success to Prey and the streaming roots Trachtenberg laid down in that post-pandemic milieu, even if that movie should have obviously been in cinemas because, oh my god, it is so good. One other reason behind why Badlands is tracking well, I think, is down to a different off-screen context. When The Predator dropped in 2018, you had the right cooks in the kitchen, but with the wrong recipe, with Shane Black taking cues from the MCU in the worst ways, and also with it being the first Predator film since 2010's Predators. To really enunciate that there, Predators. Like Star Tours, only not. But yeah, getting back on track, what I'm saying is that now we have an altogether different pop cultural context Gritty, pulpy 80s horror is making a comeback, whether it be the resurgence of Evil Dead with Evil Dead Rise, or, more importantly here, with Fede Alvarez's Alien Romulus. Much as I did not vibe with that film, it was pulling from a well that was both entirely goopular and lore-laden, recollecting the vibe and spirit of the first two Alien films in a way Ridley Scott's Prometheus and Alien Covenant, both good movies by the way, I'm not getting off my soapbox, didn't actually appeal to. And given the proximity of the Alien and Predator franchises, the fact they have both got a shared history on and off the screen, it wouldn't be disingenuous to say that the latter has benefited from the cultural comeback of the former. Romulus had a clear reinvigorating influence on the series, and given the Predator isn't too far away from Alien in terms of iconography or shared history, it makes sense why it would potentially experience a bump from Alien doing so well. All of this is further amplified by the fact that Badlands is the first Predator film in a long time to really lean into those connections, explicitly tying itself back to Alien with the presence of Weyland-Yutani and the character of Thea, a synthetic portrayed by Elle Fanning. These connections weren't hugely emphasized in the marketing, I want to say, but they were there for those who were looking, and at the very least, the shared pop cultural context of the two franchises has probably played a part in Badlands doing as well as it has. So essentially what we have here is like a reverse Predator 2018 situation. Greater franchise exposure versus lesser franchise exposure. Positive word of mouth versus everyone coming out of a movie and going, what the hell is even that? And also there's a symbiotic boost from the gnarlier organism, in this case Alien, adding some actual urgency to Badlands as a viewing experience. For his part, Trachtenberg has also cited the MCU as a positive influence on his decision-making with Prey, the animated film Predator Killer of Killers, and now also Badlands. Whereas the worst impulses of that franchise were on full display in Black's film, potty humor, contrived iterations on legacy, and post-credit zingers galore, we have something a lot more structured and proactive this time around. If so many of Disney's franchise mistakes over the last decade have been driven by reactionary tendencies, what we have here is evidence that having a clear, singular, creative vision, building something that is both interconnected and structurally solid enough to support itself, will drive something that is both more creatively fulfilling and more appealing to audiences. It's like, oh my god, we can make a franchise in a way that isn't totally dishonest or patronizing. Who knew? That sense of untapped potential with the Predator universe cannot be overstated either. It's only recently that any sequel has really been able to live up to the legacy of John McTiernan's original, or the promise of a bigger world Stephen Hopkins threw up in the finale for Predator 2. Both those wants are being met by Trachtenberg now, bolstered by a wealth of published material to draw inspiration from, and most excitingly, this all feels like it's just the beginning. I may come to rue those words 10 years from now when I'm nearly 40 and we've got Predator up the goddamn wazoo, but right now, in 2025, this is great. It's a nice, adequate amount of Predator that we have right now. Maybe throw in a cheeky licensed game too, maybe, and I'll be satiated. But yeah, that's the general state of Predator and why Badlands has done so well. Have you seen the film? Did you like it? Are you now a Dex superfan? Let me know down in the comments. Drop me a like if you enjoyed it, or feel free to get me with one of those terrifying plasma caster things if you didn't. That's all for now though. I've been Ewan, this was What Culture Horror, and I'll see you next time. Go. Now. What are you waiting for? Get to the chopper!